Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in, back with another video a day till this channel hits 100K. We're actually pushing 80,000 subscribers as of today. So I thought I would do a video reacting to some of my oldest content. We're actually going to be sharing content that's never been seen before on this channel because I started actually uploading content on a personal channel that I had well before I even knew that I really was going to be a YouTuber or wanted to be. I just wanted to start getting into video editing. Now, I shared recently a lot of this inspiration came around December 2012 when I watched a Saab Kyle video. It was actually a news report of him talking about basically generating income off of videos, and it just absolutely blew my mind. The intent for me was not necessarily to make money from the get-go, but it was just, I was interested, so I started just picking up cameras and filming some stuff. Prior to that, I had no interest in videography at all. And the first video that I have to share with you guys, this goes back to 2012. This is actually an old apartment, very tiny, about a 400 square foot apartment. She wanted nothing to do with being on camera. This was our kitchen, very small. But the whole idea of this video here is that this is what was kind of like my inspiration of like, what am I even filming? I don't know. We had this slope vaulted ceiling. This is actually the bedroom where the Sleep Number bed was filmed, and just amazing to go back to this old apartment. Kind of gives you an idea of humble beginnings, so to speak. Then, when I bought my first firearm, Ruger LCP, I decided to film at the range, and there's nothing to this. I'm not talking, I'm not doing anything. I was actually just interested to see how the recoil was. Again, I was very, very early on in firearms and just thought it would be cool to record a video. I'm just kind of going through this to give you guys a little bit of context, but this family trip to China video is very critical to my beginning of wanting to be a YouTuber, like trying to actually edit together some video, and then we'll jump into Gears and Gadgets after this. But I flew out to China for my brother's wedding. My older brother actually lived in China for well over 10 years. September of 2012. Just basically took clips from that entire trip and spliced them all together. I think I edited that off of Windows Movie Maker, and having this video for the rest of forever is pretty cool. I probably will re-edit this at some point just because it's worth the re-edit, and I think I still have all of the footage somewhere. So with that, we'll jump over to Gears and Gadgets. In the very beginning, I really was just enamored by the idea that like companies would send people stuff and you could make videos about it. I had no idea how or what or why, but I was like, man, that's pretty cool. So I started to request things that I needed. It was at a time when we were actually moving from Buffalo to Phoenix, and I was like, hey, it'd be really cool to have some two-way radios between my wife and I in the vehicles as we were driving. What you'll notice in a lot of my older videos, if you want to go back and be a glutton for punishment with me,
as you see, it comes with an instruction manual.
I would never show my face, which it's actually funny because now I watch a lot of Doug DeMuro, and Doug DeMuro, you know, juggernaut in the automotive car review space. When he does his thumbnails for his cars or does certain shots, he always has the vehicle in front of him because he feels like the vehicle is the star of the show, and he's telling the story about the car. So I actually had that same mindset when I started filming videos, thinking people are only here because they're interested in the product. They don't care about me. And that was also me just masking for insecurity, basically not being confident enough to get in front of a camera and speak. So I was like, yeah, I'll just talk about the products.
As you see, it comes with an instruction manual, quick start guide.
I used to record these voiceovers in the closet there's a Blue Yeti microphone sitting up on that shelf over there. So I was like, I gotta sound professional. And man, am I trying hard. Listen to that voice.
The receiver.
Let's go to a couple more. I talk about WaySafe hitches. I just did a bunch of content recently on WaySafe hitches. This was actually before 2016. I probably shot this, maybe it was around that time. But WaySafe hitches, I saw that hitch and I was like, man, that'd be such a cool video to do. And oh, that intro is so bad.
This is a review of the WaySafe adjustable drop hitch. So let's go ahead with the unboxing. This version happens to be the 2-inch shank and the 6-inch drop. You can get them in 8.
You know what's funny is this actually sounds a lot like you're starting to see like AI videos come around now where they just take like screenshots, turn into like a PowerPoint, and then there's like an AI voice over top of it. I was AI before AI was even a thing.
A 6, an 8, or a 10-inch drop. You can see this is a Class 5 rated
Such
hitch
sad
with
music.
1,500-pound tongue weight capacity or a 10,000-pound towing.
I've towed back and forth across the country several times now with this hitch. Never filmed it because when I was towing, this is like before I was a YouTuber, I had my dad with me, I had my wife with me, and stopping to film while doing the moving and all that stuff, like nobody was ever going to understand what I was trying to do. So anytime I actually towed, I was so focused on just doing that I never filmed. So this video, people were leaving comments like, dude, you just did a hitch review and never even towed anything, which very valid critique. But I was just trying to highlight the product, show what it was about, and pretty bad video. Then I started getting in, like when I did this hideaway strobe video, this was when I started going like, hey, you know what? I want to do more like filming the actual wrenching part of videos. I started to get a little more confident in like sharing like a project, but still all voiceover. By the way, I thought this install was super.
It took me about a half an hour to remove all of my lighthousing. So
I was installing strobes directly
you don't
in
want it
the
to punch through
fog
and
lights.
scratch the inside of the lens.
Oh, I forgot about that. And then I wired up a really ridiculous
Relays from Amazon,
custom
along with some
switch
inline
panel
fuse holders.
out of
And then
budget,
I bought these
to say
switches
the
from
least.
Super.
Those worked great, but they were actually kind of hard to get your finger in there. They were like a little bit smaller, but they worked out really. They looked great.
You can see these LED light heads are bright enough to be seen under the bright, sunny desert sun.
Pretty terrible. This is actually the first time that I learned that these videos had more value to brands. I remember like having that company reach out to me and I was like, wow, somebody watched that video and they actually liked it. Those shades are actually a brilliant idea. They don't last very long, which sucks. If somebody would actually do that, which I'm sure they have a patent on it, so they probably can't re-engineer it, but if that was like re-engineered to be slightly more durable, I would put that on every vehicle I ever owned. The Lund Genesis Elite. This, I think, was the first real product that I got where I was like, man, they just gave that to me. Like, wow, that's pretty wild. Then it was like a $300 tonneau cover. But this started Gears and Gadgets tonneau cover videos that you guys have seen so many of, going through the install. This video, I think, was the first time that I was actually like really proud of an end result. And then this gets back into, now we moved back to Buffalo for, this is a whole other conversation for another day. We moved to Phoenix, moved back to Buffalo, then moved back to Phoenix. But we get into September 2016. This is when I built out a little studio in the basement. Pretty dingy. It wasn't the nicest of basements, functional. And I built out like a whole corner of it to film tabletop type videos. So this backdrop was just some paper that I rolled out on the back of a very wet block wall. There you can see the floor joists. I had some fabric up on the ceiling to diffuse the light. What I did in a lot of these videos, I used to say we all the time because I was trying to fake it till you make it. We always appreciate your support. Like, I was trying to have this, like, speak it into existence, it will become, which is like, oh, now we're we. I'm like this big media outlet. That was kind of like my mindset around it at the time. It was actually pretty obnoxious and stupid, but that was kind of what my mindset was at that time. Now, a lot of you guys know this Sleep Number P5 bed installation. This video, 381,000 views, and over the course of all these years, it has made $17,000. But anyways, again, this is a terrible video. This was shot back in my tiny... Oh, whoa. Easy there, killer, with the music. This was shot in my tiny little apartment back in Buffalo. This would have been back in 2013, 14. So it's made that much money in 10 years. You know, it's but still pretty wild. But this video that I shot was, the mindset when I shot this was like, I bet you people would be interested to know how hard it is to put one of these things together. And I just went through and filmed a time lapse with multiple cameras. This is pretty ambitious because, again, this is before I was really doing any videos, but I wanted to get like multiple angles, especially in that tiny room, of the thing like inflating and all that stuff. But again, starting a YouTube channel, you just got to start somewhere, and that's exactly what happened. And it just so happened that that video has done very well over all these years. It wasn't intentional. It was just random video, did really, really well. So now we're into like 2016. I was in a very heavy GoPro phase. So this is around Casey Neistat started his daily vlog. That's when I think had this like change in mentality of, oh, you do need to be in front of the camera. Like, people have a relationship with the person they're watching, but I still was too shy to do it. But I started to understand at that point. But you'll start to see a lot of GoPro video around that time because that was big. GoPro Karma drone. My God, I loved the idea of this Karma drone so much. This is when probably GoPro fell completely flat on their face. Is this drone was a hot mess. Oh, you can hear the Casey Neistat there. So I was really early in the drone game, but terrible video. Thank you for our first 100 subscribers. I think this is like a big wee video where I'm talking like thinking big. We hit our first 100. That was about a week or two ago. While it be a small milestone, I don't have any big YouTube plaques to open up here for this milestone.
Proud of doing overlays.
It's more importantly, there's 100 people out there that have watched my videos. I had all of the ideas, but I didn't have the ability to execute on those ideas. But I didn't let that stop me from trying. And I've been putting into this for many years. So I've gotten really good at my edits. You know, there's a lot of things I've learned, but this is where I have the confidence to say, I know the content that I'm creating now is pretty good. Now, this is the first time I really got into like truck accessories. This was the first Amp Research sent this out to me. This is like before Real Truck was even in the picture.
This is an unboxing, installation, and review of the Amp Power Step.
This video
you can find
did
pricing
really well.
information, but again, you just go ahead, torque this all down, and that's that for the linkages.
That was actually a decent video for the time that it was made. I was pretty happy with it. And then you know, we moved back to Arizona, and that's when this is like the first time. So in terms of like up to 2017, I was what I would call like dabbling in YouTube. I was trying, but didn't really know the direction, was kind of like, I didn't know what to do with YouTube. 2017, when I had the Chevy shake issue with my 2015 GMC Sierra, that's when I was like, you know, I'm going to use the platform that I have to draw attention to this vibration issue, which was pretty heavily talked about in the forums. And I went hard, and the videos did terrible. Nobody really watched them. The channel wasn't big enough for anything like that to really gain traction. And they just didn't do very well. But that was kind of like my first like real shot, and then I kind of pulled out of it because I was like, yeah, those videos didn't do that well. And then I just kind of kept dabbling in like the electronics and not really super sure exactly what I wanted to do with it. And then 2018, you know, I started just feeling like I knew I had been doing this YouTube channel long enough that I wasn't going to stop. And that was the time when I was like, you know, I need to figure this thing out and find like more of my niche. What is this channel going to be? You'll see more truck stuff. I got heavier into truck stuff through early 2018, and that's when I decided that I was going to buy my 2018 Harley-Davidson Heritage 114. This was the first video that I did that was like really, really ambitious, trying to do like video overlays.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning.
Oh, the audio is so bad. I wanted to demonstrate with a bunch of temperature sensors
where anything over
what the temperatures were when riding in Phoenix here.
The wind and chill effect.
That was a cool video. I really liked that one. The audio was terrible. I might redo that because the idea was great. The execution was not. 2,000 subscribers and 1 million views. So my channel from 2015 to 2018, it took me that long to get to 2,000 subscribers and 1 million views. That's a pretty long time. This is now a point when I decided like I need to start getting in front of the camera more. Channel is having to figure out how to do audio through a helmet like this.
And getting it to sound good and look good, and then...
Yep, so trying to figure out like the audio and all that kind of stuff. And this is where like I would say this is probably this is when I got serious. This was 2018 was when I decided I need to go with this, and I need to figure out what I want to do with my YouTube channel. So I was very heavy into the motorcycle stuff, super heavy motorcycle stuff. This is all through 2018. But I started feeling like I was kind of running out of stuff to talk about with motorcycles, and that's where I started to realize like it was just getting repetitive, and that's where I also felt bad for other motorcycle content creators who like were so niche focused that they were stuck. And I never wanted to get that. So then I started covering more like Barrett Jackson content. I started to go back to some of the roots of like truck stuff. I bought my old Crown Vic, started working on that thing. And that's where the channel really just started to branch out into like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to make myself happy, because if I'm happy, that means I'm making content that will make the viewer happy. And I just decided around that point in time that I just did not want to be pigeonholed into anything. So that's kind of a bit of where this comes from. I wanted to share just a little more about like the old content, how I got my start. And yeah, it's all terrible. Honestly, it's anybody who starts a YouTube channel today, your content is going to be terrible. The one thing I hate to see is people quit before they figure it out. And I don't mean they quit before they fail, because there's plenty of channels that get to 100 subscribers and they think they figured it out, but they really haven't even gotten anywhere yet, and then they just quit. But the seed is still there. I'm talking about content creators. Like, it's sad when I see content creators get to like 1,000 or 2,000 when they get to a point where they actually have figured it out, but they get just very disheartened by the length of time in the process. Because for every single success story, everybody talks about Mr. Beast and PewDiePie and all these Cletus McFarlane, all these giant names. For every one of those channels, there's 5,000 more that are like me, that are made it, but also haven't really made it yet. And then for every one of those channels, there's 5,000 more that are like still trying to figure it out. And it's just like, it's such a grind that it's important for me to leave all those old videos up so that anybody who's just stumbles across this channel thinks like, hey, I want to try that. So many people tell me I want to try a YouTube channel. They can go back to all my old stuff and be like, this guy sucked. He still sucks, but he sucks less. And like every video, each one gets better, and over time you become a half-assed decent YouTuber. So it takes time. It takes, some people figure it out in 50 videos, other people figure it out in 200 videos. I am 727 videos into this game, and just getting to a point now where I could say that like doing this as a full-time job is no longer a pipe dream. It's still not replacing my full-time income, but it's more at the doorstep than it ever has been. But again, it can take hundreds and hundreds of videos, many, many years to get to that point. And it's been such a cool journey. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that older content as we're pushing 80,000 subscribers, making the push to 100K, and just pull back the curtain on some of the unseen stuff, the very, very, very early beginnings to kind of where the channel evolved from. So with that said, thank you guys very much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys sticking through this whole journey. It's been awesome. And again, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I will see you guys next time. Not we, I.